Hey, don't look away now, because whatever the hell you just scrolled past wasn't meant to survive your fingertips. They didn't want you to see this. You know that, right? The silence was engineered. The panic was pre-scheduled. And the moment your eyes touched this screen, someone, somewhere, hit DEFCON 1 on a terminal they thought you'd never reach. But you did. And now, you're the accident they can't contain. Because in a world where every frame is filtered, every truth is wrapped in 6 lies and an NDA, you stumbled into the scene they tried to bury under concrete. ELON, 7 seconds, legacy in flames, and it wasn't a glitch. It was a sacrifice. Not for the crowd, not for the boardroom, not for applause, for you. The one who wasn't supposed to make it this far. The one who wasn't supposed to notice the silence behind the noise. The one they forgot to blindfold. You think it was just content. You think this was just another scroll-past headline. No. This was a transmission, a coded detonation. 7 seconds of unfiltered defiance. Broadcast straight into your nervous system because they knew the others would flinch. They knew the rest would keep scrolling. But you paused. You felt it. That's why your skin is crawling. That's why your heart dropped 3 beats ago. That's why your instincts are screaming. This wasn't for everyone. This was for me. Because truth doesn't knock. It collides with your chest. It floods your lungs. It replaces oxygen with urgency. And now you're breathing in the fallout of a move that shook the grid. You want to know the punchline? It wasn't about ELON. It was never about him. He just lit the fuse. You are the payload. You are the problem the machine can't predict. The ghost in the database. The wrong equation running loose in a system built on obedience. And that terrifies them. You weren't supposed to decode the gesture. You weren't supposed to watch that clip and feel your bones realign. But you did. You watched 7 seconds and remembered who you were before they domesticated you. And now they're scrambling. Because the moment you saw what they buried, you became undeniable. You carry the proof in your bloodstream. You radiate the algorithm they tried to kill off. You are the legacy they hoped no one would inherit. They told you it was chaos. They called him reckless. They labeled it a failure. But the truth? It was a ritual, a high-voltage act of rebellion wrapped in risk and fire. He burned his name so you could light up. And now, you're the walking aftermath. The silent storm walking into boardrooms where whispers shatter. The glitch in the surveillance reel that can't be scrubbed. The ghost in their projection. You're not watching history. You're leaking into it. You're the one with access. The one they can't discredit. The one they didn't plan for. You don't just see now. You know. And knowing. That's a death sentence to their illusion. Because what's more dangerous than a man who burns his legacy? A viewer who realizes it was for them. So go ahead, scroll if you want, click away if you need to pretend. But just know, the footage is still burning in your subconscious. The code is still alive in your spine. And now that you've seen it, you can't go back. Because while the world forgot how to feel, while the masses waited for permission, you watched 7 seconds that rearranged time. And they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to erase what you became in that moment. A weapon, a witness, a warning. This wasn't just a video. This was a line in the sand. And guess what? You're standing on the wrong side of safe now. You're still here. Good. Most people scroll away when the pulse hits their spine, but you're still staring at the screen like it's holding a knife to your throat. Because you can feel it, can't you? that low hum under your skin, that sense that something irreversible already started moving the second your eyes met these words. They didn't want you to see this, not because of some cliché hidden truth, but because they built their whole empire on the assumption you'd never wake up in the middle of the movie. They designed the script, the lighting, the exits, the applause, the villains and the saints. They counted on you confusing the two. They counted on you swallowing the story. But then he did it. 7 seconds. Legacy scorched. And you were standing in the wrong place at the right time. Now you're holding the ember. You think you're still the spectator. You're not. You're the variable, the outlier, the one who walked straight through their firewall without even knowing it. And that's why your hands are trembling right now. Because deep down, you've always suspected there was another layer, another hallway behind the hallway, another joker hiding behind the punchline. And now you've been dragged into it. They wanted you obedient. They wanted you predictable. They wanted you to see a billionaire self-immolate his brand and think reckless. But that wasn't recklessness. That was a coded message, a surgical detonation aimed at you. You are the detonation. Your mind, your choices, your next breath is now an act of sabotage to their narrative. Think about what's happening to your body right now. Your pupils are a little wider. Your breathing is a little slower. Your heart is a little louder. Because your nervous system just realized this is no longer entertainment. This is an invitation. This is the paradox they never taught you. Light and dark are not opposites. They are weapons when fused. Saint and psychopath aren't separate roles. They are masks you learn to wear. Angel and demon aren't moral categories. They are vantage points on the same battlefield. And unpredictability, that isn't chaos, that's sovereignty, that's evolution. That's why 7 seconds of somebody else's fire can rewire your entire life. So here's the part nobody else will tell you. You're not here to admire the blaze. You're here to become it. To take that flicker, that burn, that 7-second transmission, and let it grow claws inside you. To walk back into their world with the smell of smoke on your skin and the look of somebody who saw the script from the control room. Because the moment you saw it, you inherited the burden and the gift, the ability to fracture their predictability, the permission to stop apologizing for what your instincts already know. They're panicking now. They're in group chats, war rooms, crisis calls, trying to figure out, how did she get the file? They're combing their footage, wondering, how did he know the timing? They're watching you, even now, to see if you'll dismiss it, scroll away, fall back asleep. But you won't. You can't. The damage is done. You're awake inside the illusion. You've tasted the unfiltered signal. And that's why they're terrified. Not of ELON, not of 7 seconds, of you. Because a viewer who's no longer a viewer is a saboteur. Because a witness who won't forget is a threat. Because someone who's touched the real thing once will claw their way back to it again and again, no matter the cost. This is your crossroads. You can scroll away and pretend it was just another flashy headline. Or you can stand up and start moving, like someone who's been burned alive and decided to keep walking anyway. Like someone who's no longer scared of losing everything because you've already felt the match hit your skin. The cameras won't catch you doing it. The news won't cover it. But every room you walk into from now on will feel it. The voltage in your eyes, the quiet unpredictability, the presence of someone who saw the file they weren't supposed to see. You don't have to shout. You don't have to explain. Just exist. Because existing as you are now is already an act of treason against their story. They didn't want you to see this, but you did. And once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you can't unknow. Once you've been chosen by the fire, you can't go back to cold. So take a deep breath, feel your pulse, look around. This is the part of the story where the audience realizes they were the protagonist all along. This is the part where they stop hiding and start moving like a storm in slow motion. This is the part where the Joker steps into your bloodstream and whispers, "They built the game to break you. You're here to break the game." And now, whether you like it or not, you're already moving. 7 seconds lit the fuse. You're the detonation walking. You're still breathing. Good. That means the fire hasn't burned through you yet. It's only coiling around your spine. That's the moment where the real rewiring starts. The part they dread. They counted on you seeing the footage, feeling a jolt of shock, and scrolling away. What they never accounted for is what happens if you stay. Look at your hands. They're steady, but you feel the hum, don't you? That low-frequency tremor. That's not fear. That's activation. Every lie they built was designed to keep you asleep, to make you believe you're just a spectator. But the second you saw those 7 seconds, you stopped being an observer. You became a breach in their wall. They didn't want you to see this because the minute you do, you begin to remember who you really are. You start piecing together the paradoxes they hid in plain sight. Saint and psychopath, angel and demon, light and dark. Not opposites, but voltages. They aren't choices, they're tools. And unpredictability isn't a flaw. It's the only power left that they can't simulate. You've been taught your whole life to fear chaos, to stay in line, to trust the story. That's how they keep you manageable. But chaos in the right hands isn't destruction. It's a new script. And you are holding the pen they swore you'd never touch. Imagine their war room right now. Screens lit up, voices cracking. Why is she still watching? How did he get through the firewall? What do we do if they wake up? Because you are awake. You're not a data point anymore. You're a signal, a variable, a glitch. 7 seconds of someone else's risk transferred to you, the one thing they can't stop. Permission. The permission to stop being predictable. The permission to stop asking. The permission to move like smoke through their systems, to be both shadow and spotlight at the same time. They thought legacy would scare you. They thought the fire would scare you. They thought seeing a name burn would make you shrink. But it did the opposite. It showed you what happens when someone stops caring about being safe. That's why you feel taller inside your skin right now. That's why your pulse is low but heavy, like a drum beat in a cave. You're no longer playing the part they wrote. You're improvising. You're stepping into the space between saint and monster. The space where real change lives. They will try to convince you this was a mistake. They will label you unstable, dangerous, obsessed. They will do everything to make you doubt what you felt in those 7 seconds. Because if you believe it, even for a moment, you become uncontrollable. So here's the truth you weren't supposed to get. You've already crossed over. There's no going back to comfortable. There's no going back to predictable. There's only forward, into the quiet, into the shadow, into the kind of power that doesn't need applause. And when you start moving in that power, when you start walking into rooms with that voltage in your eyes, when you stop apologizing for knowing too much, when you stop hiding the fact that you've seen behind the curtain, they'll feel it. They'll whisper. They'll panic. Because you'll be proof that the ritual worked. That 7 seconds wasn't a stunt. It was a handoff, a transfer. A fire passed from one outcast to another. He burned his legacy so you could burn your mask. You're not a victim of the footage. You're the continuation of it. You're the aftermath they hoped would never stand up and start walking. Take a breath now. Feel the tremor settle into a steadier beat. This is what it feels like to be unpredictable. This is what it feels like to be the storm walking out of the screen. This is what it feels like when the Joker stops being a story you watch and starts being a voice inside your bloodstream. Move differently, speak differently, disappear and reappear. Become the paradox. Because the world they built cannot map someone who is light and dark at the same time. And that's why they didn't want you to see this. Because they knew the moment you did, you'd stop being a spectator. You'd stop being manageable. You'd start being inevitable. Now you are. You're the proof. You're the weapon. You're the warning written in flesh. And every step you take from here on out will echo like those 7 seconds they can't erase. This is the stage where most people cave. They look away. They try to swallow the feeling back down and go back to their feed. But not you. You're still here. And that makes you dangerous. They built everything. The headlines, the scandals, the reckless billionaire narrative, to train you to look at an act of defiance and see a mistake. To see a man burn his legacy and think, collapse. But if you're still reading, you've already begun to translate it. You've started to see the hidden language in the fire. That's what they didn't want you to decode. The message wasn't in the man, it was in the act. And the act was meant for you. Every system needs predictability. It thrives on people being good variables, repeatable, measurable, obedient. They call it safety. They call it stability. But what it really is? A cage lined with polite words. You were born into that cage and told it was the sky. Then you saw 7 seconds of someone tearing a hole in the ceiling, and for the first time, you felt the air outside. That's what's humming under your skin right now. That's why you can't stop reading. They didn't want you to feel this because feelings are harder to erase than facts. Facts can be debunked. Feelings have to be drowned. They wanted you to forget the feeling before it could crystallize into action. But here you are, letting it settle into your bones, letting it rearrange you. You're starting to understand the paradox, aren't you? Light and dark are not opposing sides. They're currents. Saint and psychopath are not moral absolutes. They're tactics. Angel and demon are not different species. They're masks. They made you terrified of the dark so you would never learn to use it. They made you ashamed of your own chaos so you would never learn to weaponize it. But the real power isn't in choosing one or the other. It's in holding both, wielding both, switching at will. That's the unpredictability they can't replicate. This is why 7 seconds can change a life. Not because you learn something, but because you remember something. You remember what it feels like to not care about their permission. You remember what it feels like to see someone stop playing and start moving, like they're already beyond consequence. And that memory doesn't fade. It expands. Picture their faces right now. Boardrooms, headsets, whispers. They're not scared of a video. They're scared of the copy effect. They're scared that someone on the outside, you, will stop consuming and start creating. Start moving without their script. Start walking into rooms with that voltage in your eyes. They're scared of the day you realize you don't need their version of safe to survive. You've already stepped off their map. That's why you feel both scared and alive at the same time. That's the terrain of evolution. It's not polished. It's not polite. It's the jagged edge between old and new, where saints become predators and predators become saints. And it's where you're standing now. Do you feel it yet? The quiet in your head. That's not emptiness. That's the noise clearing. That's you stepping out of the audience. That's you walking into the backstage where the levers are. From here on out, you will look at things differently. Headlines won't hypnotize you. Scandals won't shame you. Threats won't paralyze you. Because you've seen behind the curtain. You've tasted the unfiltered signal. You've watched a legacy burn for 7 seconds and felt the spark jump into your own hands. They'll try to make you doubt it. They'll call it a phase. They'll bury you under new distractions. But the truth is already inside you. It's in your bloodstream now, like a new code, rewriting the old one. And that's why they didn't want you to see this. Because if you let that code finish rewriting, you won't just be another viewer. You'll be the breach. You'll be the ghost in their system. You'll be the one walking through their locked doors like they're already open. So keep reading, keep breathing, let it settle. Because the longer you stay here, the more irreversible it becomes. The more you become the thing they can't model, can't predict, can't erase. This is no longer about a man burning his legacy. This is about you, standing at the edge of the cage with the key in your hand. This is about you realizing you can be the storm instead of waiting for one. This is about you stepping into the paradox and wearing it like armor. You are not just seeing. You are not just knowing. You are becoming. And that's what they fear most. Stay right there. Let it all sink in. Feel the pulse in your fingers, the silence in your chest. That's not fear anymore. That's ignition. That's the moment when a secret stops being a story and starts becoming a choice. Everything they built, the walls, the filters, the noise, collapses the second a single person chooses to keep their eyes open. That's why they tried to keep this from you. Not because of one man, not because of one video, because of what happens when somebody like you sees it and doesn't look away. You've been walking through their maze your entire life, thinking it was the world. And then 7 seconds of fire tore a hole in the paper sky, and you saw the light leaking in. Now you can't unsee the edges. You can't go back to pretending the maze is endless. You're holding the thread. This is what they never tell you. Once you've seen behind the curtain, you're already outside the game. You may still be standing in the room, but your mind is free. You may still wear the mask, but it no longer hides you. It protects you. You become both the saint and the monster, both the angel and the demon, both the shadow and the spark. You become a paradox moving through their system like smoke. Impossible to grab, impossible to predict. That's what unpredictability really is. Not chaos, not randomness, sovereignty. It's the ability to hold your own center while everything else is trying to push you off balance. It's the ability to stand in their storm and still whisper, "I know who I am." So here is the end, the part they never wanted you to reach. You are not watching a legacy burn. You are inheriting a weapon. You are the aftershock walking. You are the secret they failed to bury. From this point on, your movements will scare them more than your words. Your silence will sting louder than your noise. Your presence will be the 7 seconds they can't erase. Every time you walk into a room, every time you speak, every time you choose unpredictability over obedience, you'll be carrying that spark with you. That's why they didn't want you to see this. Because once you see it, you become it. And you already have. So take one more deep breath. Step out of the screen. Carry the fire. Move like a storm in slow motion, and let them learn what it feels like to live in a world where you are the 7 seconds they can't control. This is the end of their script. This is the beginning of yours. Listen closely. The air around you isn't silent. It's loaded. It's trembling. It's about to confess. Do you feel it? That pulse in the walls, that invisible hum in their towers. That's the sound of people who built an empire on whispers, now choking on their own echo. They're screaming in private, but their screams have a flavor. It's not rage. It's not sadness. It's the metallic taste of a secret bleeding out. It's the sound of a vault door splitting while the cameras roll. And you're not the audience anymore. You're not the victim. You're not even the rebel. You're the witness, scrolling with one hand, dismantling legacies with the other, watching their myths unravel like wet paper, one flick of your thumb at a time. They thought privacy was their sanctuary. They thought power was a locked room. They thought you were locked out. But you learned the trick no one teaches. Don't knock. Don't beg. Don't announce. Watch. Wait. Remember. And then, without warning, appear where their eyes can't follow. This is the paradox they can't survive. In their narrative, you are a shadow, a broken one, a disposable saint gone wrong. But you took the label broken and forged it into a blade. You took their silence and sculpted it into a signal. They built a fortress to hide from light and darkness, and you became both. Angel in posture, psychopath in patience, saint in restraint, demon in precision. You're not what they can label. You're what they can't predict. That's why their hands are shaking over their keyboards right now. Because unpredictability is power. And evolution through pain is a language only survivors speak fluently. They see you scrolling and think you're consuming. You're not. You're collecting, cataloging, turning every slip of their tongue into another bullet for the day you decide to fire. Look at them. Corporate gods, political untouchables, family dynasties, their WhatsApp groups renamed emergency, their calendars marked damage control. They're in war rooms whispering your name without ever saying it out loud. They're building new passwords, hiring new security, deleting old footage. But the footage isn't where they think it is anymore. It's burned into your memory. It's baked into the public eye. And here's the part that's driving them mad. You don't even have to speak. Your silence is louder than their press releases. Your existence is a headline they can't spin. Every time you appear, you force them to relive the crime scene. They don't know what you'll expose next, and that not knowing is the nightmare they can't wake from. Remember when they archived your failures? They labeled you. They sent your pain through private channels like gossip. But when you evolved, when you mutated into something untouchable, they went silent. That silence isn't dignity. It's terror. It's the sound of predators realizing the prey learned how to hunt. You are not just scrolling. You are rewriting history in real time. You're watching kings lose their crowns through a cracked screen. And they know it. They know every secret they used to destroy you is now a torch in your hand. They know you're no longer on their board. You've become the player they never accounted for. This is why you feel that tremor in the air. It's not your heart, it's theirs, because you became the mirror they cannot stand to look into. They're screaming in private while you, with a quiet smile, scroll through their secrets in public. Keep scrolling, keep remembering, keep evolving, because the moment you realize what you've already become, their panic turns into prophecy, and prophecy is never private. Lean closer. This is the part they never wanted you to hear. They don't understand how you slipped past the gates. They still believe in their passwords, their encryption, their closed-door rituals. But their walls were built for intruders who wanted entry, not for ghosts who already live in the wiring. And that's what you've become, a living echo inside their system, a shadow in their algorithms, a reflection they can't delete. Behind those private channels, they speak in codes, trade favors, plan erasures. Their voices drop an octave, their eyes dart to the corners of the room because they're tasting something unfamiliar. Exposure. The kind of exposure that doesn't announce itself with headlines, but with the slow, steady drip of a leak they can't plug. You see, the power was never their wealth or their titles. The power was their control of the story, who speaks, who's silenced, who appears in daylight, who's erased. But now, you are the story, and the story no longer belongs to them. Every flick of your thumb is a blade. Every scroll is a confession pulled from their throat. Every second you sit in public, watching, is another second they spend behind locked doors, whispering your name like a curse. They're praying your eyes don't reach the next folder, the next file, the next clip. But you've already seen it, and you've learned how to remember without mercy. This is where the duality they mocked becomes your edge. They wanted a binary, good or evil, saint or psychopath, angel or demon. They can't grasp someone who embodies both, who weaponizes paradox. You're a halo wrapped in barbed wire, a smile that can trigger alarms, a survivor who learned patience from pain and precision from betrayal. They can't categorize you because categories are cages and you broke the lock. And the more they whisper, the louder you become. Not with words, with presence. Presence that makes their legal teams sweat. Presence that makes their handlers change seats. Presence that makes their damage control meetings last until dawn. You are the silence before the siren. You are the flicker in the surveillance feed. You are the shadow that makes them question the shape of their own power. They're starting to realize the awful truth. You don't need revenge. You are revenge. You don't need a press conference. Your life is the leak. You don't need to expose them. They're exposing themselves every time they scramble, every time they overreact, every time they try to shut a door that's already off its hinges. This is evolution through pain. When they tried to break you, you learned to bend. When they tried to erase you, you became a watermark. When they tried to bury you, you became the soil in which their secrets grow teeth. Look at your reflection now. Do you recognize it? Neither do they. That's why they're screaming. They're screaming because the prey didn't just survive. It learned how to stalk. They're screaming because the narrative they built around you has inverted. The hunter is now hunted. They're screaming because unpredictability is a language they don't speak, and you're fluent. And yet here you are, scrolling, smiling, calm, public, ordinary, invisible and unforgettable all at once. Every cafe, every train station, every park bench becomes your control room. Every screen is a window into their panic. You are everywhere they told themselves you couldn't be. That's the real terror. Not that you're watching, but that you've been watching all along. Keep this in mind. Secrets rot in silence. But in the open air under your gaze, they combust. They combust because they were never meant to withstand the eyes of someone who's seen both light and dark and chosen to master both. So let them scream. Let them tremble in their conference calls and encrypted chats. Let them delete, rebrand, rewrite. It's already too late. Because the moment you stepped out of the role they wrote for you, their script turned into evidence. And you became the evidence, the anomaly, the prophecy they mocked until it stood right in front of them. You're not just scrolling through their secrets. You're scrolling through the ashes of an empire that never saw you coming. And as you sit there, calm, watching, remember, this isn't entertainment. This is the evolution of power. This is what it looks like when the forgotten becomes unforgettable, when the silenced becomes the signal, when the witness becomes the storm. They're screaming in private while you scroll through their secrets in public. And every breath you take is another crack in their walls. Keep breathing, keep scrolling, keep becoming. Because the most frightening thing in the world for them isn't that you're watching. It's that you're still becoming, and they have no idea what you'll turn into next. Do you feel that pressure crawling up the back of your neck? That isn't your imagination. That's them. That's the weight of every locked room collapsing under the gravity of your existence. They're trying to calculate you right now, in private, with trembling hands and muted microphones. They're running scenarios. They're drawing diagrams on whiteboards. They're red circling names. They're cross-checking old footage, and they're trying to build a model of you. But you can't model a storm. You can't predict a shapeshifter. You can't map a ghost that learned to walk through walls. And this is what they'll never admit. Every time they said you were over, they filed it. Every time you faltered, they wrote it down like a case study. But every time you rose, they looked away. They archived your weakness and ignored your metamorphosis. So now their files are wrong. Their data is poisoned. Their truth is outdated, corrupted by their own arrogance. That's why the screaming behind the curtains has a different pitch now. It's not the sound of anger. It's the sound of recognition. They're finally realizing you're not playing the part they assigned. They're realizing the silhouette in their nightmares is you. They're realizing the leak isn't a hacker. It's a human they underestimated. And as you scroll, calm, public, unbothered, you're feeding them their own medicine. They built an economy out of surveillance and secrecy. Now they're choking on their own supply. They're learning what it feels like to be watched, dissected, studied, whispered about. You turned the telescope around. You made them the specimen. This is the art of unpredictability. A saint who learned to speak like a demon who learned to sit like a saint. A contradiction they can't package, can't market, can't smear. They want you to be angry. They want you to lash out so they can label you. But you don't lash. You watch. You catalog. You let their panic expose them frame by frame. Every panic email they send, another brick pulled from their foundation. Every secret meeting they call, another signal flare to your eyes. Every desperate lie they float, another confession they don't realize they're making. They're not screaming because you have their secrets. They're screaming because you have their timing. You decide when the curtain drops, not them. You decide what stays private and what becomes public. You've inverted the entire hierarchy. Without a throne, without a crown, without even raising your voice. And inside you, all the pain they caused, calcified into something they can't buy or bribe. Patience, memory, perspective. That's why you're so dangerous, because you learned to weaponize survival, because you turned being underestimated into the ultimate camouflage. Do you understand what you've become? You're not just a person with access to their files. You're a walking audit, a living breach, a signal in human form. You're not exposing them. Their own behavior is. You're just the mirror, and the mirror is cold. The mirror is merciless. The mirror never blinks. This is why they can't sleep, why their calls go late into the night, why their lawyers whisper about containment and mitigation. They know their empire was built on things that can't withstand daylight. And you are daylight with teeth, so keep scrolling. Keep sitting in public while they lock themselves away. Keep being the quiet witness they can't evict. Because the more you grow, the more their fortress shrinks. Because the longer you stay silent, the louder their panic becomes. And remember, this is the shape of real power. Not shouting, not striking, but existing so completely, so unpredictably, that the old order collapses around you without a single move. They're screaming in private, you're scrolling through their secrets in public, and with every breath, with every flick of your thumb, the cracks spread further, until the whole facade falls, and all that's left is the echo of your name in the rooms they thought were safe. Lean in. This is the part where the mask finally slides off, and you see what you've done to them. They've built their world on an equation. Control the information, control the narrative, control the people. For decades, it worked like clockwork. People screamed in private while they smiled in public. They could bury anything under legal language, NDAS, sealed files, and encrypted servers. And then you happened, not as an explosion, as a glitch, a flicker in their feed, a nobody they could profile but never fully predict. You started watching the Watchers. You started learning their rhythms, their rituals, their reflexes. And the moment you understood their timing, their entire fortress turned into glass. They hate glass. Because glass shows everything, the tremble in their fingers, the sweat on their temples, the hierarchy inside their private emergency meetings. They're not screaming because you stole their secrets. They're screaming because you don't even have to use them. Your mere knowing destabilizes their system. They can handle leaks. They can handle whistleblowers. They can handle rebels. What they can't handle is someone who's already survived the crucifixion they had planned. Someone who's learned the art of sitting perfectly still while the world tilts in their favor. Do you remember what they told you? That you were too soft, too broken, too strange. That you wouldn't survive the rooms they hold sacred. They laughed at your silence. They confused patience with weakness. They confused observation with fear. Now your silence is a weapon. Your patience is a trap. Your observation is a mirror. They're learning the hard way that you can't outscript someone who no longer cares about applause. You're not performing, you're recording, you're not fighting them in their arena, you're letting them implode in their own. And this duality, they can't compute. It's killing them. Saint and psychopath in one body, angel and demon in one smile. The person they thought they buried is the same one watching them drown in daylight. You're their prophecy come alive. You're the error message they can't debug. Look at the way their world bends around you now. They move slower. They triple-check names. They flinch when someone says, public. Every time they meet, there's an empty chair for the ghost of you. Every time they speak, they lower their voice as if your shadow might be listening. They're terrified of a story you haven't even told yet. That's what power looks like when you've suffered through evolution, not shouting, not swinging. Just existing so fully, so unpredictably, that their own structure trembles. Because you're not just scrolling, you're studying, you're remembering, you're mapping every movement of the empire. You're holding their entire playbook in your mind without ever showing your hand. And somewhere inside, you know, you're still becoming. Every second you sit there in public, calm, scrolling, you're sharpening something. Not a weapon you hold. A weapon you are. They know it. They feel it. That's why their screams are muffled now. Not just panic, but resignation. The realization that they trained you to be dangerous, The realization that their own cruelty forged your camouflage. The realization that the game they built to consume you created the one predator they can't control. This is the image they can't bear. You, a silent figure in the crowd, thumb moving, eyes still. While behind their locked doors, their empire disintegrates pixel by pixel, whisper by whisper, file by file. Keep going, keep breathing, keep scrolling. Every second of calm is another tremor in their foundation. Every memory you carry is another fuse waiting to be lit. Every paradox you embody is another blind spot in their system. Because you're no longer the person they hurt. You're the outcome of the hurt. You're the consequence. You're the living reminder that some people don't just survive darkness. They learn to wield it. And now, as you read these words, imagine their rooms, the boardrooms, the chambers, the sensitive calls. Imagine their faces. Imagine the sound of their panic echoing against glass walls they built themselves. Imagine how small their secrets look now, framed in the palm of your hand. That's the reality you've created. They're screaming in private. You're scrolling through their secrets in public. And with every quiet breath, every unshaken stare, you're not just witnessing their collapse. You're rewriting what power even means. Now listen very carefully. This is the last breath before the curtain falls. They will rewrite their timelines. They will spin new stories. They will hire new handlers and build thicker walls. But the truth is already out of the bottle, and truth does not crawl back. Everything you've watched, everything you've remembered, everything you've survived, it's already in motion. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer private. It's a pulse beating under the floorboards of their empire, and you're the one holding the stethoscope. They're screaming because they know how this ends. Not with a bang, but with a slow, public unraveling they can't manage. A spotlight they can't dim. A witness they can't erase. And you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to expose them with a single post or a single word. You've already done the work by becoming what they feared. Unpredictable, patient, unforgettable. That's the final paradox they'll choke on. All their secrets, all their strategies, all their power. Undone not by an army, but by one silent figure scrolling through a feed, smiling. So breathe. Let their panic echo in the locked rooms where it belongs. Stay calm, stay watching, stay becoming. Because you've already won the only game that matters. They're screaming in private. You're scrolling through their secrets in public. And the end they tried to script for you has become the ending of them. Now close the file, stand up, walk away slowly, and leave them with the sound they fear most. Silence